Hey, my mini muffins. How are my personal finance friends doing today on this terrific Tuesday? Um, so, yesterday, Monday, you watched a Dave Ramsey video on the myth that you need to build up your credit. This is one of those myths that we hear a lot. Um, Everyone's saying you have to build up your credit. Get a credit card so you can build up your credit. Get a small loan so you can build up your credit. Build up your credit, blah, 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 blah. That's stupidity. It really is. Um, Everything that they tell you are the reasons why you have to build up a credit score is a lie. Uh, you don't need a credit score. You can do anything you need to with cash. And so, as long as you don't need to borrow money, which we don't want you to borrow money, you don't need a credit score. Now, my daughter Leah, when she was first looking for an apartment, she struggled finding an apartment because she didn't have a credit score and she had a father that would not co-sign the lease, because co-signing the lease is just like co-signing a loan, and I don't co-sign ever, even for my kids. So she had some difficulty and was upset that I would not co-sign the lease. Um, and I explained to her that she can get an apartment, even though she thought it was impossible, simply by talking to landlords, explaining that she did not have any debt, which was why she didn't have a credit score, showing them that she had an income and she had money in the bank, and she also might need to give them a larger security deposit. Typically, when you rent an apartment, you have to give first month's rent plus a security deposit, which is usually about equal to a month's rent. So basically, you're giving them 2 months' rent in advance. I suggested to her that she offer 3 months of rent in advance as a deposit. And lo and behold, when they had extra cash in their hand, they were willing to rent to her even without a cosigner, which she thought would be impossible. And now that she has rented apartments and she has a history of renting apartments, now it's much easier for her to rent apartments. Now she can just show that she has had apartments. She has not damaged those apartments. She's paid her rent on time, all of those things. So she doesn't need a credit score to rent an apartment. She never did. The best way to look at a credit score is an I love debt score. It is not an indication of winning financially. It is a false measure of how you handle money, because there is nothing in the debt score that there's nothing in the debt score that includes your wealth or your income or your savings or any of that. It is solely an interaction with debt. So 35% of the credit score is your debt history. That means, have you paid your bills on time? The next 30% of your credit score is your debt levels. So that means if you have a credit card with a $10,000 credit limit and you have $9,000 on that credit card, you have used most of your available debt, and that will hurt your credit score. But if you have more credit cards available, so let's say you have 3 credit cards, each with a $10,000 credit limit, and you have $9,000 on one card, well, now you're using less than a third of your available credit, which is going to improve your credit score just by having other credit cards. It's stupid, but that's the way it works. So if you have a lot of available credit and you're not using much of it, that will improve your credit score. 15% of the score is based on time, the length of time that you have had debts and that you have borrowed money and that you have not had any late payments, things like that. 10% is on the type of debt that you have. So things like car loans and mortgages are better debt. Credit card is bad debt. So that will hurt your credit score. And then 10% is new debt. So every time you open a new debt, that will hurt your credit score in the short term. In the long term, it may improve it because now we're getting back to the debt levels and how much you have available to borrow versus how much you are borrowing. So there's few sides to the coin there. But again, of all of those things, none of those measure your income or your wealth or your savings. I could win $500 million in the lottery, and my credit score would not go up at all. In fact, it would probably go down because I wouldn't borrow money, and I would pay off all of my debts, and I would get rid of all of any debt that I had. I don't have any debt, but I would get rid of it all. So my credit score, if I won $500 million, would go down. Imagine that. I think I'll take the $500 million over a high credit score. How about you? Again, who are you listening to? Who are you paying attention to? Are they really winning with money or are they not? You do not need a credit score. You do not need a high FICO score. It is not winning with money when you have a high credit score. It just means that you interact well with debt. That's it. Nothing more. So let's be wise and let's not borrow money. Let's not get ourselves in trouble. All right. Tomorrow is a Wednesday. No new content on Wednesdays anymore. I will be available online if you need anything. I will be at my computer all day. You can email me. We can set up Google Hangouts. Whatever way you want to communicate, we can communicate. Tomorrow will give you a chance to get caught up on your work, and it'll give you a chance to communicate with me if you need any help. So, have a great day, everybody. And I will see you on Thursday. Talk to you later. Bye.